Well, 6 months ago, Diddy, Sean Combs, he said, stay in the light. And then he said that basically he was the light. But unfortunately, it appears that the spotlight is on him. Today, Hollywood Unlocked shared two other individuals who spoke up about Diddy. And in their post, they commented and said that there was another shocking allegation about him that was making its rounds on social media. It said Touré, who is a creative director at the Griot, sat down with Joy Reid to discuss Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami home being raided by federal agents. But during the conversation, Touré revealed some shocking information that he says he never spoke on publicly before.
So I was personally disturbed many years ago. Okay, I know this man well enough to call him and say, hey, I need a favor.
Yeah.
And this might have been 10, 12 years ago that I called him and say, hey, I have a family member who I want you to hire them as an intern.
Yeah.
And I have never talked about this publicly. And he said yes. And they were flying around, one of the interns, Atlanta, Miami, whatever, on the jet, in the house, whatever. And then the internship stopped abruptly, like 3 or 4 months into it.
Yeah.
And I spoke to my family member, like, well, what happened? And they wouldn't say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did it end? He wouldn't say. And years later, they finally came out, and this a male, and said that Puff had said, come home, stay the night with me, or the internship is over. And they said, absolutely not. He said, absolutely not. And the internship ended. I was personally disturbed many years ago.
Now, some people are questioning why he decided to say something about his relative's experience with Diddy now, but Claudia Jordan made a comment which really does make a whole lot of sense. She said lots of people have been holding their tongue out of fear, and now there is safety in numbers. Please never question someone about why they take so long to tell. Now, outside of this story, there was another individual who shared her story briefly. She was a former dancer for Diddy back in the 90s. And she was also a former extra host, but her story came out a little bit after Touré's story from the Griot came out. But she said, oh yeah, women hold a lot in order to function every day in a man's world. Unfortunately, we can compartmentalize our pain and carry on. We utilize the experience as a lesson and move differently. If I told my story in 1996, then what? I just knew to avoid him at all costs. Yes, I danced for him and kept my space. I was on the vote or die airplane and kept my space. I interviewed him for his projects and kept my space. Nothing that is happening is surprising. She said, ladies, keep space to heal and move on is key. Gathering to incriminate is goals. But in this wild world with a broke AWS system, our healing is priority. She goes on to say, shame on all those men that let this continue. Shame on me, maybe for prioritizing my mental health, some would say. But after working in a place that snatches souls, she said, mine is intact and of the light. I saved myself. Now, if someone needs me to pile on my story, give me a call. But I think Cassie got it.
You know, we all have stories. Seriously, we all have stories. Mine is horrific and only 5 people know it. And I probably will never tell it. But since then I've been like, yep. And I also am very intimately aware that you tell your truth and you become victimized over and over and over and over and over and over. And mind you, I then interviewed him many times. I have a lot of stories, y'all. I've been in Hollywood for 25 years, maybe longer, 30. I got a lot of stories. Unfortunately, maybe I'll write a book one day, but it just is so traumatizing that women just want to live every day and feel safe. And when we revisit and revisit, we live in a state of victimhood, and nobody wants to live there. So for those who are like, why didn't you say something then? Because we just want to live. We want to be happy, and we really want to forget the trauma. So there's that.
Now, someone commented on her post. They said she is a very credible source. Yes, one person comes forward and then the domino effect begins to happen. Let's remember, a lot of people coming forward have an extensive, credible resume. So comment below. I think for me, when she said she had a horrific or horrible story, it's just really, really sad to know that these things have been happening for years and that people were afraid to speak up, because technically a lot of times when someone has a lot of money and power, there is fear, right? Now someone else commented, come on guys, how would it have benefited her speaking out back in 1996? Wasn't it in those same 90s that Dr. Dre publicly beat up a black female journalist for speaking out against him, and nothing happened to him? And he went ahead to blackball her and basically destroy her career. She did what was best for her to survive at that time. Please give these victims grace. They went on to say, be happy instead that they finally feel safe enough to speak on their experiences. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Do you think that there will be more individuals coming forward with their stories? And if so, what do you think are the next steps in this whole investigation with Diddy, Sean Combs, you guys? Let me know how you think all of this will pan out in the end. I thank you guys for watching and listening, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Please give this one a thumbs up and be sure to hit that notification bell so you never miss an update from what's happening.